At the start of the story, we meet a boy named Dokja, a quiet and lonely kid who's constantly bullied by the useless troublemakers at his school. Every time he came home beaten and bruised, he would escape reality by diving into his favorite web novel. That story was about a hero named Sam, a man who faced countless terrifying monsters and he kept fighting, kept growing stronger, no matter what. The novel had once been wildly popular, but after running for more than 10 years and crossing 1,000 chapters, most readers had long given up on it. Now, only one reader remained, Dokja. Years later, Dokja had grown up and was working as a contract employee in a dull company. Ironically, the day his contract ended was also the day the final chapter of his favorite novel was released. After finishing his last day of work, he eagerly opened the app and began to read. But when he reached the end, disappointment hit him hard. Sam was the only one left alive. Everyone else had died. Frustrated, Dokja messaged the author. That ending was terrible. You could have done so much better. Later, while riding the train home, he ran into a coworker named Jian, whose contract had also ended that day. They chatted for a while until suddenly, Dokja's phone buzzed. It was a reply from the author himself. I'm glad someone actually read it till the end. If you didn't like the ending, then after 7 p.m., you'll get a chance to write your own. Just then, the train began to tremble violently and came to a sudden halt. A strange sound echoed through the compartment. Dokja checked the time, 7 p.m. sharp. His heart dropped. Everything was happening exactly like the beginning of the novel. Moments later, a hideous creature stepped into the train. When one passenger shouted at it to move the train, the creature fired a laser beam from its eyes, vaporizing the man instantly. Panic erupted. The creature then spoke in a cold, echoing voice, calling itself a messenger. It declared that the sins of humanity had reached their limit, and now it was time for judgment. But there would also be a chance to survive. A holographic message appeared in the air before everyone. Within 10 minutes, you must kill one living creature. Whoever does will receive 300 coins. Whoever doesn't will die. The train was locked in place. Chaos spread like wildfire. People screamed, cried, and began turning on each other. Some formed groups. Others tried to break down the doors, only to find an invisible barrier blocking the way. As Dokja peered through to the next compartment, his eyes widened. Sam was there. The same Sam from the novel. That's when it hit him. This wasn't fiction anymore. He was inside the very story he had been reading for years, which meant he already knew what was going to happen. A sudden crash shook the train as a giant monster rose from the river, smashing one of the carriages. Dokja remembered something crucial from the rule. It said, kill a living creature, not necessarily a human. He noticed a boy named Yuri clutching a small ant farm. Dokja quickly snatched it, handed it to Jian, and told her to pick one ant. While everyone was losing their minds, he quietly crushed an ant, and a holographic notification popped up. You have earned 300 coins. The others stared in shock, but then panic returned. There weren't enough ants for everyone. A man suddenly lunged at an old woman, trying to kill her. Dokja stopped him, shouting, "Don't kill this ant instead." The man smirked darkly and said, "No, I prefer killing humans." Dokja froze. He recognized him. It was Prince, one of the novel's main villains. When Dokja tried to intervene, Prince beat him mercilessly. But then Dokja remembered he could use the coins to increase his stats. He quickly upgraded his strength, clenched his fist, and landed a devastating punch, sending Prince flying. However, Prince unleashed his own terrifying powers. Shadows swirled around him as he fought back, overwhelming Dokja again. In the chaos, the ant farm shattered, scattering ants everywhere. Dokja smashed one of the remaining tubes, killing dozens of ants at once, earning a flood of coins. He boosted his speed and defense, then struck back, finally defeating Prince. Prince begged for mercy. "Please, I won't hurt anyone again. Just give me one ant." Dokja glared at him coldly. "You're not worthy of being part of this story." He placed an ant on the old woman's palm so she could live. But as the countdown hit 0, the ant crawled away. The old woman died instantly, while Prince, the villain meant to live much longer, died in the very first stage. The messenger reappeared, announcing that only 17 survivors remained in that compartment. Then it explained that powerful celestial beings known as stars were watching everything, treating humanity's suffering as entertainment. Each survivor would now receive a gift, a sponsorship from one of the stars. But Dokja knew better. He remembered from the novel that sponsorships always came at a cost, and one day, the stars would demand something terrifying in return. So he refused all offers. Suddenly, the train began to rumble again. The river monster had returned, dragging the entire train underwater. A soldier named Tom tried to open a jammed door. Dokja shouted, "Activate your hidden skill. You can do it." Startled, Tom's hidden powers awakened, and he tore the door open, allowing everyone to escape. Yuri was crying over his dead ants, so Dokja grabbed him and carried him out. But before they could rest, another message appeared. Stage 2 had begun. The survivors now had to cross a broken bridge. The same monster reemerged, destroying part of the bridge and creating a massive gap. To make things worse, a train carriage crashed onto the bridge, and all the dead people inside it came back as zombies. Tom fought valiantly, but the undead were endless. Then Jian's hidden ability activated. She created a glowing bridge of energy that let the survivors cross the gap safely. Dokja, recalling what came next from the novel, yelled, "Poison gas is coming. We need to reach the nearest subway station." He also remembered that in the original story, Sam died fighting a dragon at that very station, but had used a special power to reset the timeline. Dokja realized that if he wanted to save everyone, he had to keep Sam alive, no matter what. He approached Sam and said, "I know the future. A dragon will appear at the station. I can tell you how to kill it." But Sam grabbed him by the tie, glaring. "If you know the future, then tell me, what happens next?" Dokja hesitated. Sam smirked, then said, "If you survive, meet me at the station." And without another word, he dropped Dokja into the river. The giant monster swallowed Dokja whole. Inside its stomach, a holographic message appeared. New stage unlocked. Defeat the monster and escape. There, Dokja came face to face with the messenger, who was broadcasting everything live to the stars. Dokja smirked and called the messenger by his real name, stunning him. "You know," Dokja said, "if I die, your show ends. The stars will get bored. You'll lose everything." He forced the messenger into a contract, but then acid began to pour into the monster's stomach. Dokja quickly purchased iron spikes and used them to block the acid vents, choking the monster from within until it finally died. When he climbed out of the creature's corpse, the messenger handed him a mask and several items as a reward. Dokja put the mask on and stepped outside, where poison gas now filled the air. He entered a nearby store searching for supplies, only to find corpses everywhere. 2 girls were already dead, and one, Hina, was barely breathing. Suddenly, another monster smashed through the window. Dokja grabbed her and ran for his life, leading the creature away. He reached a subway station, slammed the gate shut behind him, and trapped the beast outside. Inside, a gang of thugs spotted Hina and recognized her. Dokja remembered this scene. In the novel, these men had murdered her brutally. He spent 1,500 coins to boost his stats and beat them senseless. Their leader tried to fight back using his ability, but Dokja overpowered him easily. Just then, another group arrived, Tom and the other survivors from the train. Jian was with them, along with a powerful politician who had declared himself their leader. The man stood before everyone and said, "If we want to live, we have to share what we have. Coins, items, everything. That's the only way we survive." Meanwhile, Yuri's powers had awakened. He could now communicate with insects. Dokja asked, "Where's Sam?" But no one seemed to know who he was talking about. That's when Dokja realized his actions had already changed the story. Then someone reminded the group grimly, "In 3 hours, we have to pay the survival fee. In this world, you actually have to pay a fee to stay alive. You can live for free, but then you must keep clearing one level after another. If you spend too long on a level, you'll have to pay the fee." At that moment, the leader came up to Dokja and said, "You've got coins, right? Share them among these people. You don't want them to live, do you?" Dokja was about to hand out his coins, but then he remembered that this man wasn't a good person in the novel. His name was Eno, and he had sold his humanity to the stars. He'd become a monster, though no one else knew it. When the people with few coins started getting anxious, Dokja said, "I won't give money. I'll get everyone through this level." He fashioned some weapons from ordinary items and went with his team into a tunnel. On the way, Hina explained that the thugs they'd met earlier had been killing people and stealing their coins, then lying that they'd earned those coins by killing monsters. Dokja, who already knew where the dangers were, led them carefully. The tunnel was dark, so Yuri used his power to call some glowworms for light. Suddenly monsters appeared, and a fight began. Everyone attacked with whatever weapons they had, and started killing the monsters one by one. Jian realized her power was like Spider-Man's, and began attacking with webs. But then a monster grabbed Jian and dragged her away. They chased, and found her tied up at the end of the tunnel. A hologram appeared. Now they had to kill the monster's leader together to clear the level. A huge monster emerged. Dokja attacked first, dodging the monster's many arms as he struck, but a powerful shield pushed him back. Tom attacked too, but it had little effect. The monster climbed the ceiling and used a special power that shattered the human mind. Anyone hit by it was forced to relive their worst memories over and over until they died. Jian was the first to be trapped. She started seeing the moment when those thugs had captured her and her friends. Luckily, Dokja rescued her quickly. Then he ran to save Yuri so the boy wouldn't get trapped. Meanwhile, Tom got caught in the monster's web and began reliving the worst memories from his army days. Dokja tried to save him, but his attack was blocked. Rocks fell, but did no real damage. The monster's leader roared and summoned his army. Dokja called the messenger and asked to buy a special ability with which he could kill the leader, but he was 1,000 coins short. While this happened, Hina was fighting fiercely. She leapt and landed behind the leader. Dokja copied her move and began cutting down the smaller monsters until he'd collected enough coins. Then he bought that special power and embedded it into his weapon, enabling one massive strike. Using Hina's jump method, Dokja executed a devastating blow and tore the leader in half, clearing the level. As the monster died, Tom was freed from the prison of his memories. They looted the treasure awarded for completing the mission. Hina got 2 short swords. Tom received a strange glove whose purpose was unknown. Yuri got a helmet that let him not only talk to insects but control them. Jian got a special coat. Dokja got a broken sword. Everyone wondered what the broken sword could do. Dokja kept quiet. He knew he'd have to find the other half later. Yuri asked about the falling rocks. Dokja warned that if you ate those stones you'd start seeing bizarre things in your mind. Then they learned the station stage wasn't finished. One monster still remained. The team ran back, and Hina leapt onto the gang leader and killed him, avenging herself. As the other thugs closed in, Hina suddenly unlocked a new power and sliced them all. All the thugs were dead. Ino had no choice but to fight. He struck a pillar to show his strength, and his hands suddenly turned monstrous. He attacked Hina. She fought him and shoved him toward the tracks, nearly finishing him, but the others stopped her. They argued, "Don't clear this stage. The next level might be worse. It might be better to pay the fee and survive." They wanted Dokja and his group to move on. If anyone had to die, let the monsters kill them so the group could take their coins. Then a voice announced that it was time to pay. This distracted Hina, and Ino took the chance to push her and run. Jian used her spider-like power to chase him, and Hina rushed after as well. But as Hina nearly reached Ino, an invisible wall pushed her back. Ino taunted them, "Do what you want. You can't reach me." Suddenly a sniper's shot blew Ino's head off. The level ended. The sniper introduced herself as Jia, and she took all of Ino's coins. The team tried to leave, but the invisible wall still stood. Jia explained they were meant to complete the previous stage. Somehow they'd entered a new one and now had to clear this one too. Zhao left, and Dokja remembered she was another character, a friend of Sam's who often fought with him. An announcement at the station declared 104 people present, and they had only 10 minutes to reach a green zone. Otherwise, the monsters would kill them. The green zones could hold only 52 people, and only 1 per spot. People started fighting. A man named Rock locked down the VIP area with his gang and said anyone who wanted a green spot had to pay him coins. Rock had bought a system with his hoarded money that automatically shot anyone bothering him. Dokja told his team to split and search for green zones. Zhao returned with a message from Sam. Dokja would have to spend the night alone. If he survived, Sam would offer him a place on his team. Dokja remembered how the brats at school had once tricked him and his friend into fighting each other for their amusement. The messenger announced that some green zones would disappear and new ones would appear elsewhere to make the game more entertaining. The spot where Dokja stood suddenly turned green, and he told his group to fight the others so they could survive. Hina said it would be better for her to fight the monsters coming to kill them. 10 minutes nearly ran out and many monsters marched toward the station, attacking those not on green spots. The rest helped Hina, and Dokja joined them. Dokja was surprised to see Sam standing by a green spot watching while monsters tried to kill Yuri. That green zone was only for 2 people. Sam had already taken 1 spot. He told Dokja, "You don't need to try to be a hero. Leave the kid and come here." But Dokja refused to abandon Yuri. He fought, shoved Yuri into the green zone, and ran away. The rest of his team secured a 3-person spot. All the monsters focused on Dokja. During the battle, he swallowed one of the glowing stones that had fallen, which put his body into a trance-like state and made him immune to the monster's attacks. He was transported back to the day he had been fighting his friend, reliving the moment when the pranksters cheered at them. Dokja won that inner battle, but he lost his friend forever and was haunted by the regret of his wrong choice. He should have fought the pranksters instead. The novel's ending was similar. The hero saves himself by sacrificing close companions. But Dokja wanted an ending where the hero survives with his close ones. Sam arrived and said, "I used to think like you. But after these fights I realized humans are awful. They only think of themselves." Dokja's trance broke and he found his team had carried him to a room to save him. They'd fought monsters for him, but Tom was badly wounded. Dokja remembered that the dragon fight was due today, and to save his friends they'd have to slay the dragon. Then a messenger announced 57 people remained, and the stars were angry that some had cooperated rather than turning on each other. As punishment, now only 1 green zone would remain. Whoever stood on it when the timer ended would win, the rest would die. The green zone appeared under Rock. He didn't worry. Dokja asked Jia for help, but she refused. He called his messenger, who reported that the stars liked Dokja and that Dokja had donated a lot of money. Dokja told him to convert all that money into coins. He went to Rock with 100,000 coins and offered them in exchange for Rock's green zone. Rock agreed, and the green zone appeared beneath Dokja. Dokja began to smash it with his broken sword. The others tried to stop him, but Jia realized his plan and shot the green zone, destroying it. When hope seemed gone, Dokja told everyone that if they had fought together from the start, nobody would have died. He gave the money to Rock and said, "We'll save everyone." From then on, Rock allowed people to enter the VIP zone for free. He also upgraded his security system with the new coins. When the monsters arrived, Rock's guns blazed and slaughtered a pile of creatures near the portal. Some monsters who dodged bullets were finished off by Dokja and his gang. Then the game's main villain, the dragon, burst out of the earth, breathing fire and killing people. Sam fought with sword and gun, striking the dragon again and again. The stars weren't happy that Sam seemed stronger than the dragon, so they made things harder. The station was torn and hurled into space. The dragon's body turned to steel. Sam kept fighting, but his sword broke. He took a new sword and kept trying, but the dragon badly injured him. Still, Sam pressed on relentlessly. Dokja realized he had something that, if eaten, would make him immune to fire. Jian used her webs to free Sam from the dragon's grasp, and Dokja joined the battle. The dragon's attention wandered, and suddenly a large monster struck it. The dragon was actually a giant insect controlled mentally by Yuri. The more the insect suffered, the more Yuri felt the pain. The dragon was mighty and began killing the insect, which hurt Yuri, too. Tom decided he wouldn't let another friend die. He dove into the fight, and his special glove activated, turning into a shield that resisted the dragon's attacks. His power lifted the earth, creating a barrier between him and the dragon. Jian made a bridge with her web, so Hina could jump onto the dragon's back and attack. Tom pushed the dragon from inside the shield and Dokja tried to finish it, but the dragon flew away. Dokja said they needed to strike the dragon's chest, but doing so would kill the attacker as well. If they completed the mission, they'd receive a special power that could resurrect one human. Jian trapped the dragon with her web. Dokja leapt and plunged his broken sword into the dragon's chest, but the sword wasn't whole. It couldn't pierce all the way through. Jia shot the dragon's chest, cracking it, but the dragon shoved Dokja away and Dokja's chest wound healed, crushing the team's morale. Sam wiped out the remaining monsters and returned to the dragon. After some strikes, Sam slit the dragon's chest and was burned to ashes in the dragon's flames. As the novel had said, when Sam dies, his skill would activate and the game would restart. Dokja felt everyone disappearing and feared it was over. Then the messenger announced he'd found the other half of Dokja's sword. Dokja immediately reassembled the sword and launched a massive attack on the dragon. The magical sword killed the dragon, and an announcement declared the level cleared. From the reward he received, Dokja resurrected Sam. The station returned to normal, and Sam was astonished Dokja had survived. The dragon's defeat restored the station, and everyone celebrated. Finally, a message arrived from the writer. "Okay, I like the story you made. This will be the ending from now on. If you liked the video, hit like, subscribe to the channel. See you in the next video."